Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to round 4 of the TCA Gaming Shop Tournament. I am playing Vegeta Hand Destruction on the left, and my opponent Joey Yang is playing Model Red Champa on the right. It looks like Joey's going to start us off with a Saiyan Kaba, turn 1. Saiyan Kaba is a great card for this deck. He actually gets to, when he attacks, he can take a card from his life. If he does, he gets plus 10,000, which puts him up to 15,000 double striker, which is ridiculous. And then he also gets to draw a card from Champa, so he can draw 2 cards a turn essentially with Kaba. And so anytime you're played against Champa, really punishing the Kaba should be your #1 goal, because oftentimes what will happen is if you pressure the Kaba, he will have to use the card he drew to protect it because it has such low power, which kind of evens the odds. So here he's going to attack 5,000 and 10,000. He's going to use Kaba's ability to go to 15,000 and 10,000. Now, as Vegeta, especially in hand destruction here, I'm going to take this hit 100% of the time. And honestly, what I should have done my last turn was take a life as well, because what happens is if he hits you with Kaba and you took a life the turn before Kaba, and then you can just take another life the next turn and immediately awaken, and then you're attacking Kaba with 15,000 and drawing a card. But Joey's going to attack me with hits, so we're going to get the same results here. So he's attacking 15,000 and 10,000, hit into Vegeta. And so if we get Awaken on the hit back to Kaba, it really puts Joey in a bad spot, because what will happen is he'll almost definitely have to dump a couple cards, plus we're drawing a card from that attack, and so it kind of evens out the hand advantage, which is really important when you're playing against Champa. Now, because Champa is not only an aggressive deck, he can also have a lot of cards in hand if you let him get out of control. And so here, moving on to our next turn, we have a couple options we can do. Now, I guess the obvious play is to take care of this Kaba, but now that he has a hit in play, this is also a very bad threat. And the reason why is because he can evolve into Lightning Fast Hit on turn 5 and deal 2 damage to us, which is very devastating for Vegetas. Vegetas do not want to have to, stay below 2 life. It just makes it very difficult. So here we're going to Awaken. We're going to draw 2 cards and get some more information here. And so here we're going to attack Kaba 15,000 to 5,000. However, me and Joey started talking here. He takes a look at Vegeta. I started thinking a little bit here too, and I was like, you know what? I think a better target here after looking at my hand is going to be this hit. Because if we attack 15,000 to 15,000 to this hit, we can get hit off the board. We can also combo if we need to with Boo here to make sure we can kill him, and I just think it's a better target. And so we're attacking hits instead, and then we also have the full power energy card in hand as well, and so we're kind of guaranteed to kill Kaba on the next turn. And so I'm trying to take the advantage here, try to take the opportunity to kill both battle cards, and that way he can't draw a card off of Kaba next turn, and also he can't flood the board with 15,000 attackers that will kind of give him card advantage. So now we're going to play Objection, get out another green energy, and pass the turn back to Joey. Now, Joey was a fantastic player. I love playing with Joey, and I'll say that you can tell that he's a very experienced card game player. I mean, he made a lot of good plays, and I know this was like one of his first matches at Dragon Ball Super, but he just played fantastically, and it was so awesome playing it with him. So here he's attacking 5,000 to 15,000 Kaba into Vegeta. And so right here, I'm just explaining to him the timing, how he doesn't have to take that life yet, because I knew I was going to counter, and so I didn't want him to take the life if he didn't want to. So I was like, hey, now I'm countering. Now you can take the life if you want, but you don't have to. And he doesn't. He decides not to take the life here. And that's something to remember whenever you're playing with Kabas, is the negate stage happens first, and so you do not have to take the life. You can wait until you see if you get negated first before you take your life, which is very important once you get lower and lower in life. So that's just something to remember, guys. So now he's playing out Frost, and he's going to use the Frost's ability to evolve it to Terra Assault Frost. And so, despite my best efforts, Joey's still going to get another 15,000 attacker here and be able to draw another card off of Champa's ability, which is something that's very, you don't want to see this when you're playing against Champa as hand destruction, but I think overall this matchup's pretty good for hand destruction. So here we go. Frost is attacking 15,000 into 15,000. So Joey's going to draw his card here. Okay, and then here I just asked him if he essentially what happened here was we were talking a little bit about how the Kaba interaction works, and it's something that I really want to talk about. And it's we were talking about if he does take a life from there, does he still draw a card from Champa? And the answer is no, he doesn't. If full power energy kills Kaba, you do not draw a card from it. And so he essentially boosts up to 20,000. We use our Piccolo to go up to 25 and survive that attack. And I think this is why the matchup is so good against for Vegeta Hand Destruction against Champa. Is Champa, knocks you down to 4 life pretty quickly, and then that puts Vegeta in such a good spot because Joey wants to keep attacking. He has to be able to keep drawing cards, and that always gives Vegeta a target to draw cards as well. And so essentially, it's really hard for Champa to get ahead in this matchup. And what you're going to see throughout this game is the same thing happens. I mean, Joey will do an awesome job getting an attacker out. He'll attack. Draw a card, and then he'll simply just have to discard that card to either keep the threat he has on the field and draw me a card, or lose it and draw me a card. So it kind of puts him in a bad spot. And the thing is, even if he does protect his threats, then he's just opening himself up for hand destruction as well. So if he would use a card here to save this, and I play a discard card out, then he's just losing even more cards. And so it's it's a very tough matchup for Champa, in my opinion, with the hand destruction decks. And so here what we're looking for is, I'm looking for another Broly, which we get lucky and get. And the reason why is I'm trying to play around Fickle Destruction. I do not want my one Broly to die, because if he does, then I have no evolved targets. Now, the problem with doing this is I'm also playing into Assassination Plots, which is the 4-cost that can clear up to 15,000 worth of, I'm sorry, up to 30,000 of battle cards. But I haven't seen very many people run that card, and so I'm okay to play around that card. It's like, I don't think he's going to have Assassination Plot, but I have seen Champa List run Fickle Destruction, so that's what I've chose to play around. Which sometimes that happens. I've heard a lot of players talk and say, I can't play this card now because if I do, this card kills me. And while it's really good to play around things, and you really should, you can't play around everything. And sometimes you actually end up losing the game if you try to play around everything, because you just try to play too safe. And sometimes you just have to take chances, And knowing the lists you're playing against definitely help. Like if you know what Champa normally runs, or what Vegeta's normally run, it's a lot easier to play around stuff. Which is how a meta evolves, as that turns out. All right, so moving on to Joey's turn 4 here. Again, we're hoping not to see Assassination Plot here. If we do, we're in not a terrible spot, but we're in definitely not a very advantageous spot. So we're hoping not to see that. Again, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think that's going to happen. And so, we're going to see what Joey decides to put down here as energy, and what he decides to play for his turn. So he plays Kaba's Awakening down for energy, and is going to play the Fickle Destruction. So that's good. I mean, again, we hate to see this. It still hurts our discard plan, but we did play around that by getting a second Broly out. Okay, and then here he's going to play out another 1-drop Frost, pay 2. In order to evolve it. This card's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's definitely a good threat. The fact it can evolve is really really strong. I mean, it's one of those things where I kept thinking I had him out of 15,000 threats, and he just kept playing these Frosts out and evolving. And it's very good in the mono red version of it. I think if you're playing the blue version, it's probably okay to cut that card, but it's still that card definitely surprised me in this list. So, okay, so here he's attacking again, 15,000 to 15,000 Frost into Vegeta. Again, a very strong attack, and we're just going to have to negate it. Again, we don't want to take too much damage, especially with a deck running both Vados. We know he's running Vados because he has one in energy right now, and Hit. We don't know that he's playing Lightning Fast Hit, but anytime we see Hit, I just assume they have the Lightning Fast Hit in their hand ready to kill us with it. So, we don't want to drop too far below on life here. I was actually thinking, too, it might have been a good idea here just to play the one Broly, and then not have played the other one, and then save that Broly 15,000 to 15,000 Vegeta into Frost. Again, we're just trying to clear these 15,000 threats out of the board, and so that way Champa has a hard time drawing a card. And so now he used a card to save this, and I think that's because he doesn't have any other threats in hand, and he knows how important it is to save his threats. But unfortunately, he only has 2 cards left in hand. We're going to get both of those cards with that discard, and we're going to attack 20,000 into 15,000 in order to take this threat off the board. Now, here's the thing: talking about this play is I think maybe it might have been okay for me just to have not played the second Broly to play around the Assassination Plot and saved it for this turn if needed. So if he Fickles here, I could have played it. But my thought is I wanted to have both Brolys out so I could evolve with 1 energy up, so I could keep and counter up just in case I needed a counter for a Vados he might play, or again some threat. So that's why I played it that way instead of maybe just waiting this turn. But I think looking back, it probably would have been okay just to play the one Broly out and saved it for the later turns. And so for Joey's turn, he's just going to simply draw draw a card, choose not to play a energy out, and then play out his just pass the turn. So here we're attacking 15,000 and 10,000, Vegeta into Champa. Now the reason why we're doing this is because Champa is at 7 life. Okay, and Joey's going to choose to counter. So the reason we're doing this is because Champa's at 7 life, and we have another discard card in hand. And so we're trying to attack him so we can still draw our card with Vegeta. But then if we hit him, we put another card in hand, which we're just going to discard anyway. And so he doesn't actually get the benefit from the attack. We're just, again, doing that to make sure we have a draw each turn off of our Vegeta. And again, I mean, Joey did a smart play here. I mean, he knew he was going to have to discard the cards anyway, so you might as well save the life. Now, an argument could be made to, take the damage. That way maybe he could awaken later in the turn, which is fine. I mean, if he, gets lucky and draws a couple Kabas or something, he could awaken. So I think either play was fine, but I think, Joey negating that attack is a very reasonable play. Okay, so we're moving on to Joey's next turn with 2 cards in hand. Sorry, he's going to play out Kaba. So he played out his 5th energy and then played out Kaba. No, actually he didn't. He just drew his card, didn't play energy, played Kaba. My bad. Kaba's awesome. I love this Kaba. I tell you, this Kaba's been very surprising. There's another deck I've been working with that really kind of takes advantage of this Kaba, and I'm telling you, this card is a little bit of a sleeper. I mean, it's very devastating and can put a lot of pressure on your opponent. For only 3 energy costs when it evolves is very, very underrated in my opinion. A very good card. So he attacks. Again, we countered. I'm going to move on to our next turn here. And so right now, Joey is back up to, I think, 1 card in hand. He got that from the Champa draw off of the 20,000 attack. And so here we're going to try to find a way to, again, get this threat off the board and control his hand as well. And there's a couple things we can do here. We can attack with our Bio Broly. The problem with attacking that, okay, so here we're going to attack 15,000 into 20,000, Vegeta into Raging Kaba. Draw our card, and then we're just going to use our Boo to go back up to 20,000 here and see if we can get this card out of his hand. Now, the cool thing about this is if he does use this card to save Kaba, we can just use our Bio Broly to attack since he won't have a hand. And so it really puts us in a very good spot. By attacking with Vegeta first, we guarantee draw a card, and that again just puts us another card up. And again, puts Joey in kind of a bad spot. Okay, so he's going to draw his 2nd card, which he is going to play down as energy, and he gets 5 energy and still gets the Vados, which I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like, I was really hoping by to keep discarding cards out of his hand, we would stop that Vados play. But he did. He got the Vados. He got the energy for it. So here we are. Now, it's another reason why I kept so much energy up as well, is I was just making sure I didn't die to the Vados play, because it's very easy to die to her. I mean, she can hit you twice, plus the cards she brings out are usually double strikers, and so it's just you can just very easily lose the game to this card. And so I was really trying to prepare for this card, to prepare for this situation. He's going to get Kaba off of his first search, which is actually really good for him. I mean, he can use Kaba to take another life away, which essentially puts him flipping in a couple turns, and that's very strong. And so we're going to use Sensu Bean to go from 15 to 20. And then here, me and him are talking a little bit, and then I'm deciding to play the 2nd Sensu Bean to go to 25, which is usually the best counter for Vegeta hand destruction against Vados, is you just get up to 25,000 and makes it very hard on him, because obviously his Vados can't attack through me, and he has no cards in hand either to really be able to buff her up to deal damage. And so usually if you can get those 2 Sensu Beans in hand, it's the best way to kind of play around Vados. Now, the problem is if they have a lot of cards in hand, they can a lot of times power through the Sensu Beans and apply a lot of pressure on you. And so here Joey's going to decide to attack again just to get the other card up, which is without a doubt the right play, by the way. To me, I always think you should attack with Vados twice, unless there's some situation, like you're really worried about her dying. But, in my opinion, if you attack with her twice, get 2 cards off of her, plus take 2 cards out of your opponent's hand like he's already done to me, if she dies, all she's doing is saving you another life. So that's like, not a bad thing. So. Alrighty, so he gets another Frost, double striking Frost. So he has a lot of pressure on board right here. But again, he can't really attack into me because of the Sensu Beans. It just kind of shows the power of Sensu Bean. Okay, so we're moving on to our next turn. And we're trying to figure out what to do here. We're at 7 mana, 7 energy, and so we're going to put another one down, go up to 8. So now we're on our Beerus turn here. We can Beerus if we need to. And here I'm trying to think of a couple different situations. So we're going to attack. I think what we do here is we attack 15,000 into 20,000 Vegeta into Vados just to get the free card. But I think what I'm asking is how much life does he have here? I'm thinking about possibly attacking his life and just making him discard, making him discard 2 more and then wait another turn to play Beerus. But I think I decide against it, and I just decided to play out the Beerus. Now, I really do think I should have attacked Vegeta into Vados here just to get another card, because I don't think the attack to the leader after the wipe is that important. But again, we're just doing 25,000 into 10,000, Beerus into Champa. Now, since he only had 1 card in hand, he does have to wipe his battle and his energy area. And then I explained to him that he doesn't actually have to discard the last card in his hand. It's not, if you don't have 2, there's no reason to discard 1, right? The effect still happens. And so that takes Joey down to 4 life. We're going to attack in with our Bio Broly. 20,000 to 10,000. Now, this is a good time to kind of go off after you wipe the field, because a lot of the times your opponent will be stuck with 1-cost combo cards in hand, and they really can't do anything about it. They can't stop you. And so here I kind of mistook what happened. I thought that he went ahead and took the damage from Broly, so I started attacking with Vegeta, but it turns out that he was still thinking, and he decides to take the damage. And now we're going to attack again with Vegeta, 15,000 into 10,000. Now, again, I mean, I think this is okay, but I think attacking the Vados and just drawing a card off the Vados is fine. 1 more life doesn't really matter since we have a double striker, but I could have actually kind of given him another card here that could matter. I could give him like a 0-cost combo card or something where he might be able to do something crazy with. And so I think, just if I'm trying to play perfectly, I think attacking the Vados and drawing the card for free off Vegeta would have been the better play instead of attacking him here and giving him just another card. Because again, like I said, we have a triple striker on field and a double striker on field, so there's really no reason to just hit him for 1, I think. And so here Joey's trying to figure out what he wants to do, if he wants to take the damage or not. Again, he chooses to awaken here, and which is going to knock him up to 15,000 and draw him 2 more cards. So we'll see what he does here. There's a couple things here. I mean, he can choose to stop the attack, which he does. He goes up to 20,000, which I think is fine. I think that's a fine play by him. He doesn't want to take another damage, but I think taking the damage here might have been the better play. I mean, but in all honesty, his battlefield's wiped, his energy field's wiped. Obviously, he's in a tough spot here, and it's very unlikely that he's going to come back anyway. And so I think whether you take the damage or choose not to take the damage, I don't think it's it's going to change the course of the game. Okay, so here he's choosing to put a thing down for energy here, a card down for energy, and he actually thought this card was Fickle Destruction at the first. So he put it down and saves him to destroy my Broly, and I was like, oh my gosh, Cabba's Awakening is so good. And so I just assumed he maybe took the wrong card out of his hand, but he actually just misread that card, which is fine. I mean, a lot of the card art looks the same. I've noticed, like, it's very easy to misinterpret some of the cards in your hand just based off the pictures. I know the Mecha Frieza and the Promo Frieza, I think, look almost identical. I always mess those 2 cards up. All right, and so again, Joey's just kind of going through his hand, trying to figure out what he's going to do here. He did have the Fickle in hand, though, and I think it's the right decision not to try to use it here on Broly. Okay, so here he's discarding the Lightning Fast Hit, which we've been playing around this entire game, so it's really cool to know he actually had it in this deck. So he discarded Lightning Fast Hit to give Champa double strike. He's attacking 15,000 into 15,000 here, which we're just going to counter. Again, that's what this deck does. It really wants to essentially only leave you with 1 threat on the field and then just negate that attack. And so here, Joey's going to play out a Frost, preparing for the next turn, which I think is fine. Again, I mean, Joey's doing a good job here just playing to all of his outs. Unfortunately, the attack with Champa failed, and so because of that, honestly, he probably can't win this game. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to just essentially discard the 2 more cards out of his hand with our threat here, and then just attack in with Beerus and almost make it impossible for him to live. Something else I do want to talk about here is I did play Objection down as my 9th energy. Normally, I will not play a 9th energy, but since Objection just doesn't do anything this late in the game, I will always use it as energy. So I just want to kind of make that clear. But that's it, guys, for this video. I want to take kind of end the video a little short here while we're still playing, and say thank you so much for TCA Gaming for having us. It means the world to have a store like this. All the players were awesome. Joey was amazing. My boy Bradley was awesome to play against. Everybody was awesome. We had such an amazing time. If you guys are ever in North Carolina, guys, please go check them out. It is such a fantastic store with fantastic players and fantastic people. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is the last video of this series. We ended up getting first. Our buddy Chris ended up getting second, and so that was awesome. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support, and I will see you tomorrow for the yellow spoiler cards. See you guys around, and we'll see you next time.